what will make it sufficient is that we change the underlying rules on Wall Street so that we do not get the economic crisis that we have today in the future. And this reform of Wall Street is very important. We need to hold Wall Street accountable. No longer should taxpayers or anyone else be responsible for the irresponsible actions of a few very large firms in this country. And we have to write the laws to make sure that principle is embodied so that it doesn't not happen again. We need to ensure that we pass a bill, a law that keeps Wall Street accountable so that seniors know that the retirement accounts are going to be there in full. So that moms and dads who save for their children's education know that the money they save for their children's education is going to be there in full. And that for that new couple who's just looking for an affordable mortgage so they can buy their new home. These are the reasons why we need to keep Wall Street accountable and pass a strong Wall Street reform bill.
This is an excerpt from a speech that Rick Larsen made in Everett back in 2010 at the kickoff to his re-election campaign. He speaks to the financial crisis which took place in 2008 and talks tough against going after the banks, Wall Street, for their, how shall we put it, their disastrous gambling habit, which led to the almost complete financial collapse of our economic system. He talks about developing a law which would prevent this type of collapse from ever happening again. Turns out that law ended up being the Dodd-Frank Act. Well, for all his tough talk and all his promises made in this speech, a few days ago, Rick Larsen voted on a bill to strip out the section of the Dodd-Frank Act which prevented the casino-like transactions that Wall Street were making back in 2008, which led to our financial crisis. You may have heard of the word derivatives. Derivatives, hard to understand, hard to explain, but to put it very simple, it's gambling with our money in the casino of Wall Street. It allows the Wall Street bankers and financial institutions to take our federally insured money and use it on high-risk derivatives. Now, the way it works, if they use our money and bet on these derivatives and they end up winning, they get to keep the profits. If they take the money, our insured money, and lose, and they did, and they lost badly, we covered it for them. We covered their losses. That's because we did not have the Dodd-Frank Act. After the Dodd-Frank Act, regulations were put in place, and basically what Section 176, I believe is the section, said is that, banks, financial institutions, if you want to gamble with these derivatives, you go right ahead, but you will no longer get bailed out for it. If you go under, you're on your own. You could not use our federally insured taxpayer deposits to gamble on these high-risk financial instruments. Well, last week, actually a few days ago, Rick Larsen, along with 69 other Democrats, and the majority, or all of the Republicans, voted to strip this section out of the Dodd-Frank Act that prevented Wall Street from gambling with our federally insured depositors' money. Why? Why did he do this? Good question.
The way I put it is if a Wall Street firm or a hedge fund manager or a big, what we have now is a too big to fail institution, if they want to drive themselves off a cliff, I say let them. Let them. But no longer should you be trapped in the passenger seat, unable to get out when they do that. And we are going to change the rules so that we no longer have too big to fail, and that we hold Wall Street accountable for their actions. So these are the kinds of things that we need to be thinking about, need to be acting on, and I'm looking forward to having that debate throughout the fall and coming up to a point on November 2nd where there are more votes for me than the other guy.